Can we have pig instead of bear?
No.
Oink oink.
What's his name? What's her name?
She is Gert.
Gertie Quindle.
Not Gertie. No, not Quindle. Yeah, Quindle's back, everyone.
Quindle's back and better than ever.
I need to make sure that the font's not going to rub, so I might have to use a hammer and do other cool things.
Oh, hammer's cool. I do like it whenever I have to use an excuse to use the hammer.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I love hammers.
I love tools.
Like when I was repairing the burned down fence, I had to use the hammer.
Mm. By repairing, do you mean demolishing?
No, because I was putting up the meshing to cover the gap, and I was nailing it in with some...
Epic. I haven't used a hammer in so long.
I don't use hammers often, but I do use mallets often.
Oh, epic.
James prefers the hammer and sickle.
I do. Any excuse to bring out the hammer and sickle, and I'm doing it.
I'm more of a hammer and tickle.
Hey, good afternoon, morning, evening, or night, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to JARCast 279.
Wow.
I'm your host, Alex, joined by Jim and James.
I'm Jim.
I'm James.
And I'm...
Yeah. You can never give them all of it. This is how you keep them coming back, because they're coming back to find out, like...
Who are you?
Yeah, who's the whole group?
This is so confusing.
Yeah.
I've been listening since day one, just trying to figure out.
Yeah.
And on the way, it was just so funny, I had to stop listening.
Mm-hmm. So it normally goes.
This is a cast that's made possible thanks to those over the Jar Media Patreon, that especially make the audio version possible and have their names read out in the first week of each month, sometimes by Randy even, if he's feeling scary enough.
Scary.
Or we forget to do it.
We never do that. We're pretty organised.
Yeah.
So organised that maybe you might get an extra video.
So we normally start getting to the mood with some housekeeping, cleaning up
Before
the
we do
mess.
that, can I just bring back an old meme?
Oh, sure. Anytime, whenever you feel like it.
It's a relatively recent meme, but like the fact that we're always ill. I'm ill.
I thought that was my thing, that I'm always ill.
No, we've had like over the past since COVID.
Oh, since COVID era.
Like one of us has just been ill, and then normally
just saying the C word gets it flagged on Spotify. I noticed it. I was scrolling through Spotify, looking at and seeing that certain Jar episodes had like big like warnings on them, like with like links to, COVID info.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like an effort to counter
misinformation. Yeah. Thanks, Joe Rogan.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm ill.
Have you not got hay fever?
No, I thought it was hay fever, but it's not.
You got a summer cold.
I reckon I had hay fever the first day. It was really high pollen, and then after that I got like a coldy, chesty sort of thing. Because it's been too much of like that cold curve where it gets
cold
like
curve, yeah.
And where it gets worse in the evening and shit. Like it doesn't make sense to me that would be hay fever. For it to be combined with a cough to the degree of mine.
So expect me to have it by the next one.
Yeah.
And probably me, because I can feel it coming. I'm getting a blocky nose.
Yeah, that's how it started for me.
Oh, don't give me a cold. No, wait. Don't give it to Alex. Because then we won't be able to go to see Jungle next week.
Yeah.
Alex will get like the worst flu possible on Friday, and then we will just have to cancel it.
But the thing with this cold is that it hasn't been debilitating by any means. I had one relatively bad day, but I still managed to...
It might not be debilitating to you, but it will to Alex.
And you.
I don't know, man. I'm on the echinacea now.
That shit actually does a lot.
It does.
Yeah, I take my echinacea root every day. And I remember...
I love a good tonic.
Yeah, and I've been having a few gin and tonics, so maybe that's making me invincible too, right?
No,
Actually, the alcohol probably counters it, because alcohol, like, F's your immune system.
Yeah, but, like...
So maybe it's perfectly balanced.
You're still getting quinoa through the tonic.
What?
Quinine. Quinoa. Quinine, a common I love talking about this. God, every time someone's like gin and tonic, I'm like, did you know the creation of tonic water was actually as a tonic to alleviate symptoms of malaria, a common mosquito bite disease.
So like medic guys would show up and be like, drink this tonic.
It would be like in the ancient times. I think it was South America. They discovered that quinine helps with malaria.
They were like, do you prefer Bombay Sapphire or...
yeah. Which fever tree do you like?
This one goes really well with lime.
Do you want Sicilian lemonade fever tree or just a slimline? Yeah. And then it was discovered in like... Basically when South America was invaded.
By the conquistadors?
Yeah.
Oh. I'll tell you what's been invaded by locals. That's Sammy's Kebabs.
True.
I was there the other day, waiting for my order. And who do I see? But a Jarling. Well, they see me, I guess. Have a little interaction. Just want to shout him out. His name was Jamie. It's another Jamie. It's 2 in a row.
I thought it was James.
Oh, no, sorry, you're right. No, I wrote it down wrong. Sorry.
No, that is confusing.
It was James.
Because the previous one was Jamie, who I am. And then the latest one was James, who he is.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah. His name was James. He mentioned he was an Apex YouTuber. So shout out to James. I didn't catch his Sammy's order. I hope he got that hot sauce, because I don't know if Sammy knows how to make that sauce.
He does.
The Sammy salt sauce is not that good. Because it overpowers.
You're slandering Sammy on the cast, man.
No, this is my opinion. Garlic mayo is the only sauce you need of anything. And if you get the chili sauce, it overpowers the garlic in the garlic mayo.
No, just get both.
No, because what am I saying? It overpowers the garlic mayos. You don't get that lovely garlic mayo taste.
Not true.
Absolutely is true.
So shout out to the Jarlings out there in the wild. And speaking of, actually, civil servants left this on the Jar subreddit saying, "Hello Mingers, it's me, Jay, from TV Girl. I'm writing in to clear my name. My friend had a spare ticket and invited me last minute, so I tagged along to the gig even though I hadn't heard of the band before. I was very nervous and a little bit tipsy when I said hello to Alex, so when he asked me if I was a fan of TV Girl, I said yes, before realising what I'd actually said. I then backtracked and claimed I wasn't a fan, but didn't explain myself until Alex asked why on earth I was even there if I didn't like TV Girl. I then said, oh, my friend dragged me along. In hindsight, I must have sounded like a prat, but oh well. It was still very nice to meet Aki B in the flesh, and I hope you enjoyed the concert as much as I did. Also, during the concert, I happened to have a silly little gnome in my pocket, which I was hoping to give to Alex after the gig. Unfortunately, my friend and I had to run to catch the car before the car park closed. So I've decided to send the little guy on his merry way to your P.O. box. Keep an eye out for him. Finally, I'd like to pose an unrelated question to the cast. If one might refer to a dog as a doggo, then surely it follows that one might refer to a cat as a pussy-o. Thanks. Wait, bear, to be fair, and word to James's father, Jay. I never... Don't put yourself down calling yourself a prat. It was like, fine. It wasn't a big deal.
It upset me, but, you know...
Well, yeah, it upset Jim, but, you know, whatever.
Who cares about Jim?
Yeah. But to answer your question, I suppose.
Yeah, I'd say I suppose to that as well.
Yeah. Also, why did you have the gnome in your pocket? Like, were you expecting to see Alex?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that bit, that, like, huge garden gnome protruding from his pocket was quite odd. But
Is that a garden gnome in your pocket, or are you just pleased to see me?
Yeah, so hopefully that shows up, and we can put him on Pigsy's little cute little smile over there.
I love this pig.
I'd go as far as to say I adore this pig.
I don't like this pig.
Oh... It's one of those things where, like, the second you see it, it's like it brings me heart. Actually it genuinely brings me joy.
Doesn't matter how bad of a day you're having. You look into that little smile and it's like, don't worry.
Yeah,
it's exactly one of those, and I got to give you credit for spotting him.
Yeah, because we walked past the display of. Or garden
the display down Swindon Way.
And we walked past it, had dinner, came back after walking around the place for a bit. And on the first walk past it, I'd eyed this guy up. I was like, I like that pig.
That's important.
So then on the way back, there was no way we were leaving without the pig. I think if you hadn't bought it, I would have. And just kept it for myself.
And it's damn heavy.
It is. It's
quality materials.
Yeah.
Quality craftsmanship all round.
Yeah.
James,
really
describe what we're talking about for those listening.
So this is my description for those that might be visually impaired. It's a pig.
Thanks for that one. A ball left a comment saying, finally a James only episode. I was getting tired of those brothers. So last episode the gimmick was like the camera was on its side. So it made it on YouTube like the TikTok format. So if you like pressed, it would like fill the screen like a TikTok video.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
And I think there should be a James episode.
Just James?
A Just James episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be able to pull it off, because I'd have to have an actual mental breakdown for it to be, like, entertaining. I'd have to go in on...
Why?
Yeah, you're going to have to explain yourself on that one, bro.
What can I talk... I'm not like Alex. I can't just do a single cast by talking to my dog.
What?
Which is what you've done.
Oh, an Argy interview?
The Argy interview. But, like...
I've done a solo cast.
Yeah, and you were trying to make it structured, and I'm not going to do that if I was doing it by myself. It would have to be like the purest form of chaos, of no subjects, no format, just absolute insanity.
Purity.
Yeah.
Concentration.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. You can record that whenever you want. Just put it up as a side video. Just James, full stop.
But I'd have to use some substance to get through to make it happen.
Just all of them.
Yeah.
Echinacea.
Yeah, I'm just going to overdose on echinacea and see what happens.
You just never have a cold ever again. Like, hopefully, Gregory Davidson. I hope he doesn't suffer with colds, but I suppose I don't know him. Bear Bear is ironically a great catchphrase. I think my life has been improved exponentially by saying it. Also, in regards to the Black Adam trailer, I thought it was hilarious how they emphasized that he killed people, and then later in the same trailer showed him smashing a plane that the pilot safely parachuted out of. Not to mention virtually every DC hero in the Snyderverse has killed. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. No way Rock will actually play a villain. He cares too much about his image. I'd love for James to play Black Adam in a film instead. I think he'd do a better job. Here. That's a great point, though. I didn't even think about.
Yeah, I didn't consider
that's
that.
supposed to be almost a core tenet of a lot of these characters, and it's like Superman killing people. I saw a funny. I think it was a tweet that was like, "What would even be the point of doing the Flashpoint paradox?" Because that story, it's like they go to the different universe, and it has the inverse characters, which is basically already what they are.
Yeah, we'll leave Flashpoint Paradox to a proper...
That was probably their plan before Ezra kind of screwed the pooch on that one.
He should Flashpoint Paradox into being cast as someone else.
He's actually Iron Man in the MCU. You've seen some of his Instagram posts that he's putting on his story that have been taken down. Just weird stuff like, you can't catch me in other universes and stuff like this. He posted one that was a zoomed in screenshot of an article talking about Ben Affleck's Batman, and he'd Joker written ha 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 on top. It's really, just Google if you're interested. Ezra Miller Instagram deleted, and then just go on images and there'll be a bunch there.
Do you know what's kind of insulting is the fact that, what's his name?
Ezra?
No.
Ben Affleck?
No.
Henry Cavill?
The one who slapped Chris Rock.
Oh,
Will Smith has had harsher punishments from Hollywood for that slap.
I can imagine Will Smith actually working again is the difference.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see Ezra Miller in a movie.
No, but they're still releasing the movie.
Yeah.
Which
Flash
is
coming out.
Well, but that's just purely economic. Imagine how much money they can't. What are they going to just eat the 100 to 200 million?
But do you think it's really going to do well enough to even make the money back?
This is superheroes we're talking about, man.
Yeah, it's got Michael
and it's got
Keaton.
Batman in it. It's got Michael.
What do you
Yeah,
mean?
they've already paid to have like Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck in there.
Wait, what?
Yeah, because that's the story. It's
Oh,
like the
Christ.
Flash going to the different universes and getting the different Batmans.
I'm very...
It's like in the comics and like some of the movies and stuff. That's a fun team up, the Flash and Batman.
Mhm.
Kind of works weirdly well. But maybe not when the lead actor's doing what he's doing. He's on a mission.
Stop.
Hmm?
They.
Sorry, they. I was talking about his character, the Flash, when he's playing the Flash.
Yeah, the character is a he.
Yeah. Mayo Support says this. Bebe. The laughing segment is too relatable. I have an internship and listening to the rats at work is unbearably difficult. Regards, Icy Wiener.
The rats at work.
This caught my eye because I wasn't sure if it's like, do you do something related to rats or is that a typo?
Yeah. Or did we talk about something to do with rats last episode?
That's always a possibility, but I kind of prefer just imagining that like he's listening to the cast like while exterminating rats or something.
Or is he a scientist and he's like testing on rats?
Actually, yeah, it says an internship and listening to the rats at work.
Or does he just mean people? Like people in the rat race of life?
Ooh.
Oh, that's pretty derogatory, though.
Why?
Those rats.
Yeah.
Well, we're referring to people.
That's what we
as
should
rats is
refer to
pretty bad.
people as...
People.
No, that's what we should refer to people who don't listen to Jar as. The rats.
Yeah. So the people, if you're hearing this right now, you're not a rat. You're safe.
Yeah.
You're safely not.
Everyone else is there.
Yeah.
Unless you rat on us to the authorities, that means you are a rat.
Yeah, it's not permanent. It's only while you're currently listening.
Yeah. The second you stop listening, you're
Mhm.
a rat.
So you gotta have them all downloaded on a loop, just going to. Not
You
be
actually
rat.
finally see the world for what it is when you're listening to us.
It's like in They Live taking the
Yes,
goggles.
it's the They Live glasses. It's a podcast.
Jack Diamond says this. Hey, baby, boys. Awkward one to ask, but have you ever tried earthing, also known as grounding? Just basically being shoeless for a while outside to connect with the earth or something. People say it makes you feel good, but I can't say for certain. I do it, but only because shoes don't feel great. It's awkward for me to ask because of the scum and villainy side of internet, making it weird. Anyway, cheers, bears.
Well, okay, so we know the answer from Jamie is going to be a no because he never takes shoes off.
I used to always go shoeless.
What about you, Alex?
Well, it should be in our Kiwi blood that we don't want to wear shoes. And I do like that concept, but we've lived in the UK more of our life. Maybe if we'd started young, got those calluses nice and firm, then perhaps. But otherwise...
I do it pretty regularly.
What, walking through like a field barefoot?
Not filled, no.
But how are you grounding
Pavement.
if you're just walking on pavement?
Must have
Like you're
thought.
not. Yeah, but you're not touching the earth.
Well, no, but I'm not doing it to ground myself. I'm doing it because I can't be bothered to put shoes on. It's raining outside. I need to get something from my garage. Yeah, I'm just going to walk outside.
I like the feeling of grass on my feet. Or sand on a beach.
Nah, not sand.
Nah, grass is a bad idea because that you're one step away from dog poo.
Well, no, I obviously pick up the poop first.
No, but you don't know the poop's there.
Oh no, I
if you
memorise
went
where
into,
every
like, a
poop has
field-
ever been. You know. But I wouldn't necessarily do it like in public or in a park or something because
Wild.
like
No.
you don't know who, like it's normally because of humans, right? Smashing a bottle, standing on glass, and maybe there's a nail.
Mm-hmm.
Nail, not fun.
I've yet to stand on anything bad when walking with no shoes on.
Really?
Because I walk to my garage and that's obviously...
You never
working on-
trodden a thumbtack?
No. No, as in walking outside, I've not stood on anything that's injured me yet.
Have you ever stood on a thumbtack though?
No, I've stood on shards of glass
No.
when they get all infected and gross.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got infected.
Yeah, because I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know I stood on the glass at the time, so it kind of just...
Yeah, our nan was in like a car crash in the 80s or something. And I think in the early 2000s, a bit of glass came out of her finger from that car crash. That's how long it was in there.
Yeah, it can happen. It's just
horrifying.
Because all the skin will grow over it, and then eventually it'll be like, ooh.
Jamie Richardson says this: "Preach it, James. Milk is disgusting. The pasteurization process literally had to be invented to stop it from being poisonous. Why that wasn't a warning sign to stop sucking teat juice from livestock is beyond me. That said, plant-based milk substitutes, such as soy and oat, banging, and a chocolate shake made from soy milk would technically be a 100% bean smoothie. Bean on."
Why is this aimed at me?
Because you were saying how much you hate milk.
Well, yeah, milk is gross.
I love it.
Yeah.
I can't stand milk.
Milk is conceptually gross, but
So are many things we devour.
like eggy bread, man.
Well, eggs kind of
Pancakes?
gross, like in concept.
No, the only gross part about eggs is the fact that they come out of chickens.
Well,
It's
yeah.
just a shell
Well,
that's
yeah.
coming out of a chicken, bro. How the fuck
Yeah,
do
and
they
then you're
make
eating
shell?
like the proteiny inside the embryo.
Yeah, it's like. Well,
What you're minging.
if you think about what an egg is, it's like a pre. It's like cum. It's like woman cum. It's
an egg. It's an unfertilized egg waiting.
Well, yeah,
to,
it's the inverse of semen. You know?
but in a shell.
But pre-cum.
No, the inverse of semen.
Pre-chicken semen.
No, because
And then he
semen is like semen is like the man equivalent of egg. Yeah, do you get what I'm saying?
You
No,
need
I
the
don't think
two
that's
to
correct.
make.
Well, yeah, no, to make a human being.
Oh, they're the
egg,
yin and yang.
semen. Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So semen
Without
equals egg.
the egg without semen is egg.
The egg without semen. Yeah, the egg. the egg with semen is chicken.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
So
you're just eating woman semen.
yeah,
Not woman, chicken.
chicken
Chicken semen.
Chicken woman. XX Puggy XX says this: "Can we change the at to the 3 teehees?"
You know what? I'm done with this housekeeping segment. That's just pushed me over the line.
Well, can't we end it on this one from Searle Worldsmith? "I'm sorry, but the cast has simply gotten too funny. Unsubbed. Wouldn't be the first. And it's definitely not going to be the last."
Yeah, well, I hope it's not the last.
Right, we got some awful topics to talk about.
When do we not have awful topics to sort?
No, normally they're
about?
amazing, but today we've got an awful one.
Well, that's because this is because you've decided the topics for today.
What do you mean? You
When
can
doesn't
always
he?
bring a topic.
I have brought a topic.
I always bring topics.
This is week number 4 of my topic, and we didn't talk about it last week.
Well, do you want to talk about that, or do you want to talk about...
I want to talk about the horrible one.
Yeah, let's talk about the horrible one. I want grim, I want dark, I want
Well,
horrible.
it's not grim or dark, it's just pedantic AF.
Well, isn't that like Jar's whole thing?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
right.
Oh, is it not? It's not social media, is it?
Wait, what? You were building this all up saying you wanted to talk about this on the cast. I
Why'd
was
you-
fine with not.
Why'd you bust it early as well?
Why'd you bust it early?
Because it's already been busted early because I resorted to talking to the Jarlings direct on the Jar Media Twitter to
You mean the
prove-
thing you normally, whenever we do, say, oh, it doesn't count because it's Twitter and it's your own audience?
Oh yeah, this doesn't count, but the comments from this very video are going to prove you wrong, so I'm not losing out.
Well, first, let's give context, right? We were having a nice meal, having a few drinks, whatever. We were talking about how much of a pain it is for us to organize anything.
Yeah,
which
this was like
eventually-
an hour-long discussion of the
which
same.
concluded with me saying I tried to do everything in my power to use as little social media as possible. What I meant being that anything to reduce phone use, I will do. Right?
No, but you used the word
But
social
because
media.
I used the word social media,
Yes,
and
it
you
became...
got really attached to this idea because I use WhatsApp to communicate with you
Yes,
guys.
and WhatsApp is
So then it
not...
became a debate about, is WhatsApp a social media?
WhatsApp,
To which I was like, yes. And you guys
No.
were firmly in the camp of no.
because it isn't.
To be fair, I was never that hardcore on either side.
No, but there is a fact here, and that it is not.
I have an opinion, but anyway, continue.
Well, I've prepared my personal statements or whatever. My introductory statements.
Well, yeah. Should we do this like the presidential?
Well, if you're kind of impartial, you can be the moderator.
No, but this isn't fair. Because you're arguing against me. I've got to make a statement for why WhatsApp isn't a social media, and it's me. So you're automatically gonna win.
Why are you putting yourself down like that, bro?
Because everyone knows. Every jar.
Also, Jim agrees with you, though.
I agree more with James than I do with you.
Every jarling knows that if it's a debate involving me, I will always lose.
Not true.
No, that is 100% true because I do not have the language skills that you two have. I do not have the argument-based debate skills that you have. I'm not good with language. I don't have any knowledge. I'd have nothing in my brain. I'm like a golden retriever. But I guess that's equal because me and Alex are both golden retrievers, so it's like
the different kinds. So I think it's interesting how we stumbled across this. Right.
It was actually extremely frustrating, personally.
Yeah, but I don't think it's quite as simple as it was made out to be. Because I think it's fair to use social media as a catch-all term to describe things, especially when you're talking about WhatsApp, where it literally does have social media features. Its core design wasn't necessarily like status updates, exactly like Snapchat. If you only use WhatsApp.
Who actually uses the status
you got to let me talk.
WhatsApp?
If you use WhatsApp just to talk to individual people, just like you would with text or whatever.
Pretty much everyone uses it. No,
but if you're using huge group chats and you're sending links and media and images and constantly using the status update feature, then that falls under the compass of social media.
What part of that is mass? Is someone in Brazil seeing your messages? No. But someone
if you have
Twitter
if you have a Snapchat and you only share your status to private people on there, it's how you're using it, right? That doesn't make it not social media.
But Snapchat is a social media because by design it's used no differently to Twitter. There's a homepage and it shows you all these articles, all this garbage they're putting in front of you.
Yeah, I would say part of social media to me is if it has news media integration. If there is some sort of mass communication, no matter how you use Snapchat, you scroll to the right and there's The Sun and all these articles and stuff and tabloid crap. On Twitter it's the same thing. You go to the search bit and it's all articles and stuff. And Instagram, same thing.
Instagram isn't the same, but it is entirely based on pictures. It's media in that regard, and that you're following all these celebrities who are mass shitting out content.
Yeah.
Well, let me read this to you. I found something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know what you think about this. This is a complex question because social media is a broad term corresponding to a set of products in an industry that is rapidly changing. The term social media means something different today than it did last year, than it did 10 years ago. So I'm going off probably what I learned in A-level ICT.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That being said, one can argue both ways. WhatsApp is a social media platform. On WhatsApp, you can share text, images, and videos to other users and individuals and groups. Additionally, they have a Moments feature very similar to Instagram's and Snapchat stories, the latter two being more conventionally considered social media. If not the entire app, one could at least argue that it has some features of social media. WhatsApp is not a social media platform. WhatsApp was originally created as an app to post dynamic status updates associating with your phone number. It later evolved into a messaging app, which is what it's most popular for today. It is now trying to monetize as a service to allow stores to easily communicate with their customers with WhatsApp for Business. None of these features are very much related to social media, but rather communication. So from this perspective, we can argue that WhatsApp is instead a communication app. But then, where's the line between communication and social media?
Mass.
No, but one of the key points to social media is mass communication, and you can use it for mass communication.
You can't though. You can't use WhatsApp because you've got to already be connected with someone and know them to be able to connect with them on WhatsApp. You can't just post something and someone around the world can see it.
And then, just out of curiosity, I just Googled social media apps, went to images. You just scroll through, it's all these like tables full of like, just as a broad term, catch-all term. It's included in there. Like the top 25 most popular social media platforms in the world: Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, WeChat, TikTok, blah blah. So my stance is that, considering the context of what we were talking about, the way you guys interpreted it was pedantic as fuck, and turned it into a discussion about definitions instead of just what I was saying about wanting to use my phone less.
But that is different. Saying you want to use your phone less is different to wanting to use
I could have
social
definitely
media less.
phrased it clearer. But honing in on just knowing that I use WhatsApp, because I gravitate towards WhatsApp because it doesn't have the horrible algorithm-led
social
which
media.
is what you find on social media.
Yeah.
I'd argue, but it's about personal definitions, and it means neither of you are wrong. It's like a cop-out, but that is it. It's like what when
it became like calling me a boomer, saying I'm a right-wing like Nazi because of it. What the fuck?
That's James just pushing the boat out like.
That's just that's like, oh, we're getting to like the whole argument. We've been at this point we've been arguing for like 1.5 hours over it, and it's just like, oh well, yeah. Because
I was saying I dislike algorithms a lot, and what they're tinkered to do, I feel like, is causing a lot of harm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's irrefutable proof that our brains are not designed and will never be evolved. They'll never evolve for us to become accustomed to this horrible algorithm-based garbage they're shooting at us 24/7.
Well, I was alluding to it a few episodes ago. I remember saying that I feel like we need to be teaching kids and parents about the intricacies of what they are designed to do sooner, and have it be more of a priority. Because my mum's a primary school teacher. I was talking to her the other day about like what do they actually teach kids now about this kind of stuff? Because like it was terrible. Like it was non-existent when we were at school, basically, because it was like a burgeoning thing, like Bebo and all this shit. It was like different. It wasn't as predatory. They hadn't figured out quite how powerful it was yet. Yeah, and how to monetize it as viciously as they do. And she was just like, it's mostly has a focus on kind of like personal safety. Like there are people who will be pretending to be kids out there who will be trying to contact you. Not about the more abstract concept of an algorithm that is delivering you content based on how you engage with it.
I mean, it's a confusing thing for anyone to get their head around at any age, at any point.
But it's like the iPad parenting thing's already a problem.
Yeah,
but that's because the parents are they're probably addicted, and a huge set of the users don't even like know what is happening. You know, like I was in the same conversation with my mum. She was talking about a friend from back in New Zealand has recently gone down the Facebook rabbit hole. Really easy. The anti-vax stuff, all of this kind of stuff.
The thing about Facebook is fascinating that it's actually, I generally believe it's actually, they are trying to push it themselves, because I have no connection to anybody who likes, because obviously my little cookie online profile, I'm not connected to anyone who would already have a pre-existing interest in this. So why is Facebook literally pushing this conspiracy theorist agenda like crazy to everyone? Because it's benefiting them.
Well, it's also because Facebook's base
is
boomers.
Yeah.
Who like they went onto Facebook like 2012 and just over the years got more and more addicted, while the younger people kind of filtered out for the most part onto your Instagrams, your Snapchats, your TikToks, stuff like that.
Onto the fresher stuff. This is actually a way I would describe a social media, in my opinion, though. Going back to like the original debate, if it is possible to go down a rabbit hole on it, then it's a social media.
I'm not
because
going down
that
a
is
rabbit hole.
But I feel like it's such a web, and especially when they all started copying each other. There was like a time where these apps were way more distinct, and their purposes were way more disconnected. But there came a point where they all just started copying each other's feature sets.
They're not copying each other, they're all copying TikTok. They're all just TikTok.
like
first they
Snapchat
copied
created that status function.
Yes.
Then
The stories.
Instagram stole it, WhatsApp stole it, Facebook. They all have it. Twitter has it. Yeah, they all have it.
Instagram.
So then they all just have like these same feature sets at a certain point, and it's just a matter of like your preferences, basically.
Yeah. But those core ones are different to me.
Yeah,
and I would say
we like channeled the conversation down into like messaging apps, and that is a different thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
iMessage.
But you have to admit that this is like weird. It's weirdly muddy. It's not as like cut and dry.
Yeah.
Because they do have feature sets that allow you to use it like a social media, even though certain things were designed for it but weren't. It's just weird. We just happened to stumble across it because of the way I phrased it to begin with.
Yeah. I think it's genuinely an interesting question, though. Like, so this thing has gone so far where we don't even know what it is anymore.
Mm-hmm. And in 5 years, like, this might be something else.
Well, yeah. But that's the thing, like, definitions change with the times.
Yeah.
What a word means 100 years ago is different to what it means now. And it's based on, like, how people use it.
Yeah, because I was simplifying it because I was using it as broad as possible, including feature sets that are about communication with video, pictures, memes, stuff like that, which you can do on all of them.
Yeah. But
you can't like post a link publicly that anonymous people can engage with.
Yeah.
But then if you post like status updates, like you could like, you've got like your anti-vax like video you found, you post it to your WhatsApp status update.
Then it works the same way, yeah. You know what I mean?
But it's much more concentrated. It's like, because I don't think...
That's how you use it though. Because it can be used for huge groups of people. If there are 30 people or 100 people in like if it's like a huge company, like people use it that way with like tens and tens of people in group chats on there.
But do they, if it's like, you need, because your phone number is tied to it, if someone has your WhatsApp details, they have your phone number. Right? Yeah. So, and people don't tend to have phone numbers of people they like don't know.
But does that even come into the equation necessarily?
I think it does.
As far as the definition is concerned.
Because I don't think that is inherently harmful. I think the issue with Twitter and stuff is that you're having a discourse with a bunch of people that they're not even humans to you.
Yeah.
You've got no concept of who they are, their lives. You don't know them in any capacity, but you're arguing about the next god of war and Thor is fat. Right? And whereas
so you think anonymity is a key part to it?
Yeah.
I think
does that make like 4chan a social media?
4chan is a social media.
I suppose it is.
Because the thing with 4chan is...
Well, that's why I think it's a catch-all broad term.
4chan is a difficult one because it is one of the only social medias that is actually still stuck in the early 2000s. It's an image board. It's quite literally
But going back to the rabbit hole thing as well, 4chan has the
worst rabbit hole.
Highest, most dangerous rabbit hole of them all.
8chan. They all go spirals from there.
That's what's weird being around, like getting like my age for like the internet is like boomer, like being nearly 30. You're basically a boomer, you know. To like any TikToker. You're
think of all the TikTok people who never use forums.
No, but now like TikTok was like based is just like a word people say now, which was like a 4chan origin. Like all of this shit originates from 4chan.
Yes.
So it's like so weird to see it now.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know how weird the internet was back in the day. You had to search on forums and sign up to forums to get basic information about anything. And those are social media.
It was like just an untamed Wild West. It was fucking out of control.
But it was also incredible. I take that over what we've got now any day of the week. Because then I'm not going to be mentally ill. Which is what all these apps are doing, is just making everyone mentally ill. And you agree with this. We all agree with this. There's nothing good from scrolling through those TikTok videos non-stop.
But like, to me, that aspect of interacting with people that aren't human to you whatsoever. Like, what?
But then, like, what if you're sharing links on Facebook, on a private Facebook, for just people who are like your friends?
That is different.
That's still social media, though.
No, but the reason Facebook to me is a social media because it has the capacity for you to see stuff from strangers, and you will see stuff from strangers because a random member of your family that you know will see something through the algorithm from a stranger and repost it or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I boiled it down into communication, because networking is like, yeah, your friend sends that to their friend and then they send it to their friends,
mm-hmm.
and you can do that through all of these.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense to me that it encompasses all of it, even though it's not algorithm led like the others.
Yeah, and I don't think algorithm is a core part of it.
No, that's what I was disagreeing with your takes as well.
Yeah, because I remember that came up early, and that algorithms have nothing to do with it. Because, see, I don't know if 4chan is a social media because...
Just see what Google thinks.
Yeah.
Continue though.
But I feel like a social media needs the capacity for both, like, PMs and, like, mass communicative functions. Like on Twitter, you're able to DM and tweet.
Okay, this is interesting. James was spot on. Unlike its contemporaries, 4chan presents social media in its most primal form, not dedicated to flashy icons, sleek designs. Interaction is placed at the forefront of the medium, with freedom of speech being its defining principle. Yes, social media requires two aspects. Users can create and share content and participate in social networking.
So it is.
Yeah, it just straight up is, I guess. Under a broad catch-all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But again, like I say, it's how you define yourself what social media is. Because if you ask, like, your grandmother, what's a social media?
What's your favourite board on 4chan?
Yeah. I like Paul.
Yeah, maybe on Nana.
Yeah. But like their definition of what social media is bound to be different to like someone who's in secondary school now.
I feel like that group of people would struggle to even define it. If we're struggling and we've like grown up with the inception of it,
yeah,
there's no chance in hell they will.
Yeah, it's like not even. It feels like an old term, even social media.
Yeah. What would you say now, though? Like,
TikTok. That's it. TikTok. Full stop.
I would say the easiest way to generally define it is there are social media managers, and these people do not get paid to manage WhatsApp. They get paid to manage social media.
But what if they use the business version where people? Because I've interacted with a bunch. No, I've interacted with a bunch of companies that use WhatsApp as the way you communicate for like
promos.
Not promos, like if you've got a problem and you need it sorted or something. Mm-hmm. Like they do it through WhatsApp.
Or like we ordered a meal through WhatsApp the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that throws a good spanner into the works.
Well, I don't think it does.
Not
because
really,
it's the same as like having a phone number back in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know?
But then surely
it's just more streamlined.
But you like have a Facebook page, a Facebook profile, a Twitter profile. It's kind of like a phone number. It's like the same thing in a way.
But you couldn't, like, make a phone call that got sent to everyone where it just said, like, a statement. And everyone got that.
I feel like we're just getting lost in the weeds, though. So this is why keeping it broad, just catch all. The original context of how I was using it, I feel like it's... See what I'm saying?
But I don't think there's an issue with using WhatsApp. When you say, like, social media is killing our brains.
It absolutely is.
Yeah. It totally true, but I don't think communicating via WhatsApp is killing anyone's brain.
Yes.
But what I was saying by including it in me trying to say I want to use my phone less is that they're not like an equivalent to me. Like sending someone a message on WhatsApp's not the same. Like there's like an order to me. Like talking in person, that's what you want, but it's not always possible. And social media allows you to communicate with people otherwise. And I keep it as brief as possible to like just to try and organize when we can like meet in person. Because then the more you're on your phone like doing this stuff, then it's like, yeah, I'm like sending all the... Where are you finding these memes that you're sending to each other on WhatsApp?
WhatsApp, Insta.
Yeah, exactly. You're on Insta, you're on TikTok, you're on any of it.
Yeah, because me and Jamie are both ill. And it's both just getting down.
Well, we're more integrated into
society.
It's actually crazy that we are 3 years apart, right? But technically, you are a millennial and I am Gen Z.
Yeah, no, I'm a millennial as well, though.
Aren't you just cut off?
No,
I thought I was the cut off. I was 94. Is that not the cut off?
The cut off is 97.
No, because I'm 97.
Yeah, no, I'm 96.
But I mean, there's no true like line in the sand.
Concrete.
But there is like a line here.
Well, because I'm definitely addicted to certain algorithms. I'm addicted to the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah. But not at all. You never. But you don't use social media the same way James and I do.
And we use it both very differently, though.
No, because I'm so anti the goonhole thing. The Instagram's just like the short form. It's like
it's not Insta. It's the TikTok form.
Yeah.
Formula.
Yeah.
Like short, snappy, instant dopamine is what it is.
Yeah, it's Destiny gameplay. It's the same thing, but like you're not. Yeah. It's that.
Yeah,
it's tricking the brain through short little rewards.
It's Vine.
They were onto it all along.
Yeah, they had it all figured out, man.
They just they fucked up as they couldn't monetize it.
I remember when TikTok was released, it was like, why are they just doing Vine again? Vine sucked.
And now it's not.
No, but they figured out. Yeah, it was actually genius what they did in terms of like.
No, but
wanting to maximize engagement for pure profit. Yeah, target children, short attention spans, include music, have music be. I think that's where Vine probably messed up.
Musically.
Yeah, musically. Integrating music the way they did. So now it's like, now you have like rappers and songs saying that they're bragging about
one time on TikTok and went viral.
Yeah. Where it's like actually like, so it's like essential to business now.
Well, yeah, TikTok you can easily advertise through TikTok because you don't even make it obvious.
Who would he given a
Lil Nas X. It was like part of his business model and like how he got as big as he did.
If you have like a catchy ditty in your song,
well, that was why the Old Town Road thing like exploded, because it had a bunch of like lyrics that little kids like could relate to, and it like gets pushed into an algorithm. But that was my boomer moment, was TikTok, where it's like that's my cutoff point. Like previously I was like I didn't like Snapchat or whatever, but I was fine like engaging with it or whatever. Like I would download it, but here is where like.
But you've actually downloaded TikTok.
Yeah, I've got it on my phone.
No, really? But that's the thing. I don't.
Neither do I.
It's just quite weird.
It's strange that...
Don't just sit here and smile at me.
The strange thing is when you don't have TikTok, you're cutting yourself off.
Well, from,
like a bunch of modern culture.
Mm-hmm. Well, because and you will see TikToks without having TikTok. And sort of like they're shared on Twitter, they're shared on Instagram,
YouTube.
YouTube has the TikTok.
YouTube
formula.
has shorts. Yeah, it's just TikToks. It's just been boiled down to this.
And and I want to get away from it, but I don't know how. Trying to get away from the Snapchat goon hole is quite horrible.
I have an answer.
What?
Angry Birds. Yeah. Angry Birds is lit. Angry Birds, it's like resetting your phone back to like 2010.
Yeah.
It's just like hard restart. I want some entertainment. I'm gonna fling some birds, you know. Like, and it's better for your brain
because you're
like
working things out.
Yeah, you're. It's like a puzzle. You're like, right.
Yeah, video games are definitely better for your brain as long as they're like There's that thing where like when you first play a new game, your brain has to form all these new connections for you to problem solve.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not the same as like jumping into Destiny the third month in a row and doing the strike you've already done 50 times. Maybe that's not the same thing. But like doing puzzle games and stuff like that, it's probably better than going down.
No, honestly.
Beanies especially. Man.
No, Candy Crush. The fucking boomers have been on it. They've been doing the right thing.
Why are they all so smart?
That's it. That's the way forward.
No, Candy Crush sucks. Don't get Candy Crush. Get Angry Birds. Not Angry Birds 2,
just
Angry
skip
Birds
that.
1.
Just get Fortnite.
There is a big crossover.
Fortnite,
TikTok.
Yeah.
Well, it's all linked. It's interlinked.
Entertainment. That's what it comes down to. And that's also part of social media to me. The capacity for it to be entertainment.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there are a bunch of kids now where that is their entertainment.
Yeah.
Where, like, they're not interested in watching movies. They're not interested in playing video games.
Yes.
They're
too
satisfied with the Instagram goon hole. And that's it.
AKA TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen it firsthand. People in my family like that, and it's just like...
But that's what I mean about teaching kids, because it's like... that. If I was a 7-year-old and I was handed an iPad when we just managed to skip this somehow. We're just the perfect age to skip this. But like, what chance do you have when you're that age?
Well, you're actually frying your brain. You're frying your attention span.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're just
and you're never given a chance to actually think. And like, no wonder, like anxiety,
mental health in general,
is skyrocketing. Like, you're never actually processing things from your lives because you're always occupied.
Yeah.
Turn your fucking phone off.
But that's the thing. That's the thing with meme culture, though. Is that's like a meme where people
it's
like
FOMO.
No, but people make fun of you saying that. Where like, oh, yeah, phone bad. Like people, it's like, what do you want? What you're fucking miserable, dude.
Social media, more like anti-social media.
Yeah, where it's like, but it's about balance.
Mm-hmm.
It's always about balance.
Yeah, like the amount of time I have spent in the Instagram goon hole, I could have watched a bunch of movies that changed my perspective on the world.
Yeah, no, but that's what gets me. That character in Mr. Robot ruined my life. You know, the one that's all obsessed with time.
Yeah.
And I'm becoming that character.
No, you are, because recently I spoke about it and you're like, the time you're wasting, the skills you can learn. I'm just like, yeah, but I'm not going to learn any.
Yeah, not even necessarily like skills, just like...
Getting ripped in the gym.
Something that's going to actually like improve your...
No, but this is the thing. How? This is where I struggle with what would I do otherwise.
Play Apex.
Which is a social media.
So now you agree with Alex?
I think, no, it's honestly, it's like that game where at the end it's just a ball and it's just consuming. Everything's being consumed by this blob and we can't escape the blob.
At the end of Inside.
Yes. That's all it is. And obviously it correlates directly into another problem that's going to become much, much worse.
Well, so yeah. What you said was correct, where if you cut yourself off from it, then you're like the fucking Unabomber out in the woods, like with no connection, you know?
Yeah,
you're like not part of society. Yeah. They've made it so it's like core to culture.
Yeah, and it's freaky.
I think one of my biggest mistakes over the last year was going back to Facebook.
Really?
Because I went back and I get in the goon hole there and it's just like, oh. And it's like, I catch myself though, Facebook, and I'm like, nah, fuck.
Yeah, because I would do that because like, that's the sad thing. So many local businesses are only on Facebook.
Yeah.
So you search them up, you see like, oh, the local dog groomer or whatever, they're on Facebook. And then you just catch yourself on the home, like, and then 20 minutes are gone and you've been scrolling through just all this shit.
Yes. And it's like, I just want to know if this lovely little cafe is so I can see people IOL is open. Because sometimes we've gone there and it's been closed because we didn't check Facebook. So we have to use Facebook to check this, to have real face-to-face communication.
Because that is the good thing about social media is like pure convenience. Like, and I love that. I love maximizing
you are just pure
time and efficiency. Yeah. I love that shit. And technology is great for that. And I've always been drawn to technology, but I feel like it's also made me aware of it a bit younger and earlier than some others. Especially Destiny. Destiny actually mind fucked me.
You got gooned. You were in a goon hole.
Yeah, I got gooned. I feel like loads of gamers have that game though.
Do you think it might be a bit of an issue that you're turning into a villain from a TV show?
Well, I'm not saying I have his like fascistic goals of like wanting to dominate the world and creating like a. I don't want to spoil Mr. Robot. But
yeah.
No, just the fact that he's a character that's obsessed with time.
And,
like maximizing time and being too aware of time.
I think that's a problem though.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, but
dogs don't sit eating their asses thinking like, oh, this is taking fucking forever. I want to go and play with my ball. They're just like, this needs doing, so I'm gonna eat this shit out as long as needs
no, as long as feels right. That's what they're concerned about. They're not breaking.
This feels good.
Yeah, but nah, that's the next stage. The next 5
start
years,
eating your own shit.
No, dogs are gonna have their own social media soon enough.
Oh no, but
Yours does.
Yeah. You do.
No, he'll be able to use. There's gonna be some kind of like
brain chip
up from, they'll be able to communicate. There'll be like a little thing. Haven't they already done that? Like put cows in like VR and stuff, and like put them in like a green pasture, even though they're in like a.
Yeah, no, they're doing that now because the cows are literally happier in
tricking
in
their
VR.
brains into being like, oh, this is actually sick. I'm actually free.
That's the Matrix.
And obviously we've got the chickens where we get, there's a test or someone's done a real life experiment where they remove part of their brain and they are happier because they can't think. they are actually like
just ignorance is bliss personified. Yeah.
So we're just gonna have these chickens being fucking processed for meat and eggs in city centres because they're so fucking like they're just locked in place, permanently happy because their brain has been like disconnected.
No, but that's kind of like what anxiety is, isn't it? It's like an acute awareness that you can plan for things that are coming or might be coming or whatever, and that's where you get lost.
Well, yeah, it's like all the possibilities of a given outcome.
Yeah.
You can't like process all of that information.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is made worse when you haven't even like processed stuff from your past.
Yeah, it's like debilitating.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm always so obsessed with like mindfulness and trying to exist in a moment as opposed to in a future moment.
Or a past moment.
People can get stuck in the past.
Do you know, is there a point when you realise you've been in the goon hole too long?
You have to have some level of like self-awareness or desire to want to improve.
No, as in, I'm saying in the moment when you're 20 minutes down the goon hole, is there a point when you kind of
But when you've played a video game for like 6 hours straight,
you've been in the goon hole?
Yeah.
Sometimes it is weirdly therapeutic, speaking about video games, to be in the goon hole. Where it's like,
no, because it's absolutely
I played Elden Ring for 5 hours, I feel like I've made progress.
Yeah, but also the thing with video games that's so like powerful is that you're actively having to, in like good games, you have to pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah, and problem solve.
Yeah, so your brain is occupied, so you can't think about shit that's actually worrying you. You can, it's like you can just use it to cope. You don't actually address any of your issues, but you're just in that realm where you're not.
Isn't that no different?
Well, yeah, like I've been going to the driving range like once a week. It's the same thing.
Well, yeah, like sports,
it's so difficult.
It's the same thing.
Like you've got to just basically clear your mind, or you're going to be shit.
Yeah.
The only way to function
But that isn't the same with social media. When you're scrolling through, it's like totally mindless, to the point where like you'll be scrolling through so many, you're not even really registering what's on screen. It's just like sound and visuals, but you can be thinking about whatever.
Yeah,
it's not very occupying. And it's the same with reading a book. You have to actively read the words, stay focused, otherwise you're going to read a page but you've been thinking about something else. So to actually read a book,
you got to engage.
You have to be engaged.
Yeah.
Whereas watching a movie, listening to music, I think are different. I think it's easier to check out of a movie.
Yeah.
Or
it also depends on the type of movie too.
Like, yeah, and how you're engaging with it. Yeah.
That's very easy for your mind to wander, you know?
Yeah.
Fuck that film. I wanted to quickly throw out there, it's kind of linked to this in a loose way. Did you see anything about this really funny thing that's happened with The Boys is streaming again on Amazon? There's a new season. And recently there's been a bit of a pushback on like the Boys subreddit and some of the fan base that have suddenly realized that it's like a satire of corporatism and like especially American politics.
Yeah.
People so some of the shit on the subreddit is like hilarious. Like how I actually don't understand how you could miss the commentary, but then you forget like the media literacy is actually fucking appalling out. It's actually, people like watch The Boys and they're just like, it's just another superhero thing for the pile. It's just the new one. It's like this. It's like, oh my god! Like, how could you miss it from episode 1? You could watch 10 minutes from any episode.
It's so obvious.
But people don't actually understand satire, I think, really at all. Like, well, some people, a large amount of people.
It's the same with Fallout, though. People do the same stuff.
Well, it's like an ongoing meme of like people that romanticize like Patrick Bateman from American Psycho and stuff like that, where it's like, or like in Fight Club and. It's like, what are you taking? You actually think?
Yeah, they're looking at the surface level. Like this person's successful and like ripped and hot.
Well, his business card's extra cool.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. Yeah. No, I found that very. If you want some entertainment, go on The Boys subreddit and look at some of it. Just sort by controversial.
To end this segment though, is WhatsApp a social media?
Jesus. Are we ending this segment?
I'm going to say broadly and in context for what I was trying to say, yes.
Just yes or no?
Yes.
No.
I don't know. Bye, Bear Bear. Bye, Bear Bear.
I do declare, bye, Bear Bear.
Bear Bear shirts and mug available now. Check the description below. Do you want to?
Well, 4 weeks. And no, because I want to make.
Because we can make this. Next episode we could do a double question thing.
If we're ready this far, then we might as well. Exactly. It only makes sense because we're literally referring to the internet, like Instagram,
and
there is overlap in actual pushing porn.
Is Pornhub a social media?
Yeah. Pornhub is absolutely a social media. There's no doubt about it, because it has like a social function where people are leaving comments and recommendations and algorithm based.
It has all the same things.
Yeah.
In fact, YouTube is literally copying Pornhub features at this point. They've got that thing now with the it's like the graph of user engagement. Like, you know, when you're scrolling through like a porn video, it like shows like the bit people watch the most.
Oh, yes.
Like YouTube's got. They stole that. Where do you think they got that fucking idea?
That's not even funny. That's like, jeez.
Yeah. Well, yeah, bro. Where do you want to take it? It does fit directly in line.
Yeah, because
it's the same.
The more the social medias are trying to push porn, because it is a lucrative market, and the fact that you're pushing like thumbnails. How many thumbnails use softcore stuff to get that viewer in? Because boobs, ass, that's going to get those views.
Yeah.
Because people are addicted to porn.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with the whole porn discussion is we've talked about it a lot on JAR, and there's always people who are like, no, like porn addiction is not a thing. I can watch it and I'm okay. No.
Well, here's the thing, right? Surely it's being able to recognize when something is a problem to you, when you are stuck in the goon hole, when it's affecting your personal relationships, when it's making you miserable.
I don't think... I need to piss. So let me come back to this. So where do you want to start this?
Well, why do you want to bring it up?
I guess we can just, Jem can walk in. So obviously, many, many years ago, some jarlings might remember that, I think it was about 100 episodes ago, it was the cast of Me and You. And I mentioned on it, porn addiction. And I spoke about it briefly, saying that I've noticed that I am possibly addicted to it.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the first step.
I was trying to raise awareness that this is a problem that I think is underrepresented in media, and a lot of people were not just unaware, but they refuse to acknowledge that it is a real problem. Because, as the whole previous discussion, we've come from pre-internet to mass internet that we have now.
Yeah.
So this sudden issue has been experienced by no one to this extent before us.
People jerking off to like Playboy in the woods is a little bit different to it.
It's extremely
to when
different.
You're 13 years old, like being able to look up anything your mind can conjure up, the nastiest fucking shit you could ever imagine.
We literally were the first actual generation at the perfect age for this to be the norm.
Yeah, basically right as hitting puberty.
It's like, there's this thing called Pornhub X videos, and then you quite literally just go in and you're consuming some fucked up shit at ages your brain's not prepared for. Because at 14, like nowadays it's very different, but at 14 I was not thinking about anything of that type until porn entered my life. And this correlates directly into everything we've said. So I spoke about it then, and I brought it up briefly a few 50 episodes later, maybe 100 episodes later. I brought it up again, saying that, it's still a thing and it's still a problem.
Mm.
And now I'm bringing it up again. I'm bringing it up again because this is the 4th week of not watching it at all.
You purged it.
I did purge it. One night, it was like on a Sunday night, so it would be 4 weeks ago on a Sunday. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore because I've noticed what it does. And the fact that it's you're not just looking for it, but it's like any spare time you have, you're looking at porn or trying to find porn to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You've got that preoccupied thing in your brain of trying to consume it at all times. And I didn't have it super bad because people get it to the extent where they're looking at it at work. When in other...
Yeah, because you hear about that, the IT department having to send warnings and stuff, or
Yeah, because people are just consuming it there because they're so addicted to it. And porn addiction is something a lot of people rebel against because there's this kind of belief with young men that it is absolutely fine. That consuming it regularly is fine, and it's just because that's what men do, that's what boys do. It's in all the American movies. There's always jokes about boys watching porn.
Yeah, Ted 2. There's a whole joke about Mark Wahlberg being addicted to,
and that's fucked up. The fact that we've almost normalized it, and the fact that boys should all watch porn, and obviously we've only got one half here because it affects girls very differently. Billie Eilish talks about this and how literally
that's what I'd say. That doesn't even necessarily just fuck over guys; it fucks over everyone.
Yeah, no, I think the real statistics of porn is girls are equally as addicted to it as guys, and that's because it's a highly addictive substance that is quite literally rewiring your brain to get dopamine releases, which is no different to TikTok, Instagram.
And without the same thing. Other substances, there's not really a better way to get a surge of dopamine.
Yeah,
than
porn.
Sexual activity.
Because our brains are wired from thousands of years of evolution we get the best dopamine from pursuing people sexually, where you have to put in work to get that release through relationships, intimacy, and now you're getting that through 5 minutes of Pornhub. our brains are not wired for that, even more so than they aren't for TikTok and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And that damage is not just that's not just turn your phone off damage, that's months. Because I've been looking into what the actual recovery times are on pornography from when you stop. And there's some of the statistics are 9 months. Which is like, that's no different to smoking.
9 months to where you have no like desire.
To fully clean your brain, especially if you've got it really bad, it can be between 3 to 9 months. That's no different to smoking. That's no different to some of the more hardcore addictions that people respect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, this isn't a joke. You're fucking your brain up for permanently. Because it's not just your brain. You ED. You get erectile dysfunction because your brain is so triggered by that dopamine from porn that you can only get hard from porn. And when these young lads are going to be in relationships where that is actually a hurdle within their relationship and they can't have sex because of ED, that's extremely humiliating. And that's like that's the evidence that you're highly addicted to it, and it ruins relationships. Do you have a
hardline stance where you think it is impossible to have some kind of balance, as I was saying earlier, about balance?
I don't think you can have a balance, because if you watch it kind of somewhat regularly, it can always increase. Even if you're watching it once a week, there's a connection in your mind between masturbation and porn. That's one of the hardest things of trying to get away with it, is because you're so like, I need to masturbate. Then your brain has already made the connection between masturbation and porn. So if you try to get away from it, you've got to fully know that needs to be cut for your brain to actually view masturbation and sex as a healthy thing.
What if you're in a situation where you are not like suffering in any direct way, like having like ED, like that is a debilitating thing. But if you don't have anything like this,
I don't think you can watch porn and not have ED. It becomes a more of a severe issue over time because it is basically porn-induced ED. But if you've watched it for any amount of time, being like years, it is a problem. And anyone, doesn't matter who they are, they're going to have this problem. It is just the thing you're going to get with porn. And especially when you've been watching it 10 years, because I started at 14. I was literally at the worst age for it, and it just became the norm in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am, 25. And it's taken this long to be like, nah, this shit's fucking bad. And it's been horrible to get away from. Because my brain is always trying to claw back. It's always trying to grab you because it knows the dopamine's there. It knows that it can get that dopamine. So it wants me back.
Yeah,
it's no different.
Any addiction cycle is like incredibly hard to break.
Yeah. And I feel that with the current age where these kids are now, like, I think kids are now watching porn younger than I was. Because it's more accessible.
Yeah, well, because I was thinking about that, like, it's not really, I don't know if it's really a thing in the same way anymore, but there was like a huge thing, like year 7, year 8, people sharing like gore stuff.
Yeah, I remember
that kind of stuff. Because it was so easy to act. Like, I was shown like gore videos in the school library, like people. Because they couldn't keep up with like
with the progression we had.
And
even
like,
in schools, they couldn't keep up with the internet. Mm-hmm. And we were, though.
Yeah, and a bunch of these gore sites just don't exist anymore.
Yeah, like Best Gore.
Yeah, that's just gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do come from a unique era.
We do, a really unique era. But I feel like the gore you found on almost normal internet back then has pretty much been replaced by how easy you can get porn.
Well, that's the thing. It's that delicate balance because people want to be like sex positive and be open about it and talk about it. But then it's like, yeah.
How can you be sex positive with porn? That's like the big question, is where does porn lie in sex positivity?
And that's where it comes to like, you need to be able to self-assess when something is bringing you down, dragging you down.
But I feel like you don't notice it with porn. You don't notice this obvious, like with TikTok or Insta, when I'm constantly scrolling through that, I start getting these weird headaches where the actual amount of things I'm seeing and the amount of information overloads my brain. So that's when I'm like, I feel awful then because I've been in that goon hole.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't ever feel that same way with porn. Because it becomes a part of like your lifestyle almost.
But sex sells. It's like a core thing to advertising.
Yes.
so you can't engage with any of this without seeing sexual content.
And that's the thing when I've tried to stop, because obviously I'm using apps to limit that. It's like if I try to go on like a porn, it's like the app pops up and it's like, no, you can't look at this.
But how does it know if like there's like an Instagram?
They don't
go like.
That's why it's quite difficult, because if you are following people on Twitter and they are people who like porn, you're going to be seeing this because it's so directly fed into social media, and that you've got to get your brain away from that completely, because any type of porn you see will trigger your brain to want it.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, man.
Porn's but I worry that the fact that so many young people are going to suffer with it because it's so normalized, and that people don't want to acknowledge that it's a very real problem, and that it doesn't affect you quite the same way as other addictions, because
it's quite a new thing too, as we were saying.
Yeah,
so
there's
we
not
don't
enough,
have the data even.
Yeah, scientific research to actually give us crystal clear results on how much you need to consume and whatnot.
Especially because subject matters like this are difficult to gather data on anyway, because you have to count on people actually being honest, but it's something people are inherently ashamed about. Yeah. So how are you going to get accuracy?
Any type of data from it? And it's been difficult for me just because the weird thing I've noticed is that I spoke about in the mental health video that I've like emotional dysregulation, where my emotions aren't regulating themselves because of the mental stuff I've got going on. And I've noticed since I stopped watching porn, that's leveled out really noticeably. The fact that I'm not going through these like pendulum swings of emotions since I stopped watching porn. It's a lot more consistent between like a week, 5 days of just the same balance. And that's the weirdest thing, because it feels like porn addiction on top of my already existing mental health stuff, it just made it worse.
Yeah.
It's just like another cyst on your brain that's making things you suffer with worse.
Dragging you down, yeah.
And you can't fully overcome the thing you're struggling with because porn's there cysting, it's a leech, it's sucking the motivation you have. And that's the thing, porn sucks it makes you contempt. You don't want to pursue relationships, you don't want to pursue being better in life because porn is a comfort. And it's going to keep you where you are.
Do you see, like, it getting better? Because, like, things are going to start getting crazy, man. Sex doll, really realistic, like, sex dolls, VR
This is
shit.
where I think...
Surely it's kind of game
It's
over.
already getting there because of VR. VR is a huge step in pornography because you can play these games that are trying to emulate real intimate relationships, and VR is obviously a real fuckery when you're jumping into it, Half-Life Alyx and whatnot. So when you're jumping into these porn games, it is like a fucking mind fuck. And then once it gets to the next level where there's toys that are integrated to the VR, so what you're playing in the game is actually happening to you.
Yeah.
It completely fucking changes the game. It's no more about
you're that cow that's like in the pasture, like just like, yeah, this is pretty cool.
And that's taking it to the next level, because then because the trick with porn is we know it's not real, but our brain, it's still enough for it to rewire our brains to chase dopamine. But when it is so lifelike, that's like a fucking horror.
It's like identical to the real thing,
it's going to completely fuck our minds completely. It's going to be worse than anything the Instagram or TikTok can ever do. It's scary. And people I want to raise that if people are watching porn, they really need to look at it and be like, what are you actually getting? Because I've had the thought where it's just like, I've just watched porn and I've finished, and it's like, what the fuck did I get from that?
Well, that's the meme, right? That whenever a dude like jerks off, and then it's like the misery after.
That's the thing with porn, it's always misery. And it's like, when you next jerk off to porn and you finish, it's like the only thing that should be in mind is, what the fuck did you achieve? What actually did they get? Because there's nothing from porn that gives you. I'd say
it's like the equivalent of like eating like a chocolate bar or something.
No, it's not even that. Think of it like unwrapping a chocolate bar. Unwrapping a chocolate bar to eat it, but there's not there. That's all porn is. It's nothing. I almost sound like I'm anti-porn, which is like, I am. But also, I understand that porn and sex is a huge part of human existence. And
yeah, that's the thing. That's why I feel like there are people out there that live their whole lives or live their lives and do have a balance and can.
Yes, I know. Because the thing is, it's like I've known people who've watched porn and it's never gripped them. You kind of have to have a brain,
like an addictive personality.
Yes, almost, for it to fully take hold.
What do you think, Jem?
Come on, sit down, Jamie. This is you. You can help here because you also are addicted.
It's been like a running gag on Jar, like the Gooners.
This is the thing. I'm trying to get people to think, because what gooning is it is the acceptance of porn addiction and making it part of your life.
Yeah, it's the same
as
making
it a hobby.
It's the same as like taking heroin and then ending up in like a
heroin.
Yeah,
that's real. It's really sad.
Like,
really?
I find gooning interesting because it's like it is the absolute acceptance of porn addiction. It is the purest form of it, and gooning's leaking. It's leaking out.
I feel like the pandemic really set it off crazy, man.
It did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think a certain type of person under those conditions.
Well, what's someone they're in the middle of a city, they're trapped by themselves in their like tiny apartment or whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone's like depressed, looking for any enjoyment they can get.
I think it's a miracle that I ended up with VR and Half-Life Alyx at the start of the pandemic.
And wasn't a full-time gooner by the end of it.
Yeah, because if I had VR with no Half-Life Alyx, then I would have gooned.
Yeah.
If I didn't have VR or Half-Life Alyx, I would have gooned.
Because it's like COVID killed dating for some time because you couldn't go out and meet people. So people are going to be horny and they're going to fucking watch porn. That was the only thing. I watched a lot more porn in lockdown. What else did I fucking do? It was just get pissed and goon.
Mm-hmm. I saw a horror story about there was a girl in China who went on like a date with a guy just see what it was like, and it was like right as the lockdowns were coming in and they were super severe there. They got like trapped together in like an apartment, and she couldn't leave, and she didn't really like the guy. So it was like weeks of it. Can you imagine how awkward that would be?
Horrible. But obviously at the same time I've stopped porn, you've also stopped cigarettes.
Yeah.
And I've
been not smoking 1 week less than you've been not.
Yeah. Because I knew you were going away to Spain, and it was like before you left you said once you get back you want to stop. So I was like, it was the motivation to me to make me stop watching porn was just like
in it together sort of thing.
Yeah. Because it's like the things with any being addicted to anything, your brain's going to kind of go through that same thing with unique nuances, I guess. So knowing that Jamie's gonna stop means that I will understand Jamie and he can understand me when we say that it's like the brain's kind of got us back. You have those cravings, your brain is just damage controlling almost.
Yeah, you start having like a dialect with yourself, and you're trying to convince yourself, like in terms of fags. If I buy a pack of fags, I'll just have one before I go to bed. But from quitting before and knowing what that leads into, it's like, well, I know one before bed turns into one when I get up in the morning and one before bed, and then one just after lunchtime, because you always get a craving after eating, and then one after waking up, and then lunchtime, and then dinner. And then at that point, it's like, well, I mean, I might as well have one in between, and it just like adds up like that.
And then it eventually just becomes, I'll quit tomorrow, or whatever.
No, this is the exact. That's the exact same with porn, because that one image, that one Instagram,
it's like Renson's speech in Trainspotting, like that is the addiction cycle.
Yeah, exactly. And I've tried to quit porn about 4 to 5 times, and now I've done the longest I have, because you have to fail to remove any addiction. You've got to know the steps. It's like you have to fail like in weak chunks. You do 1 week and then you do 2 weeks.
But that is an important thing as well. A relapse isn't failure.
No, because you're getting better with each relapse.
Like even if you go 3 days and then relapse,
that's still 3 days.
3 days.
That is 3 days.
Yeah, and then set a goal, a realistic goal for next time. Like, well, I'll go for as long as possible. Let's say starting Monday, fresh week.
Because when you know you can do like 1.5 weeks, once you've done that once, you know you can do it again, and then that 1.5 will become 2 weeks, and then it was just stacks.
You actually have to want to do it as well.
Yeah.
Like you have to truly want to do it.
Like I know I can say that there's probably younger boys who are addicted to porn and they do want to get rid of it, but like there's been times when I've tried to quit, but it's just like one bad day, and it's like, you know, just like smoking. It's just that bad day causes it, and it truly takes a while to build up for that. I want this now.
I'd say porn addiction is a lot more complex though.
It's extremely complex because it's a lot more. It's 10 times as accessible than fax, because you have to go buy cigarettes.
Yeah, you have to go on the fight with cigarettes is also like a chemical one as well.
Yeah, but so is porn.
Yeah, porn is dopamine.
Yeah, but I mean like the added chemical in the mix.
Yeah, exactly.
Nicotine
there's no natural chemicals being added to it.
It's not hijacking a natural process.
Yeah, whereas like masturbation is rife in nature. Like the only difference is the porn.
Yeah, but like a bonobo is not like whipping out their Instagram and finding their favorite fucking bonobo model and going, like, here we go.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring this up again because I want people to realise that this is going to get worse. Porn addiction is going to become a lot more of a severe issue within 10 years. Like, it's going to be headline news in 10 years.
Well, yeah, and I think
it's getting worse.
I think with the combination of VR as well, when VR becomes
more accessible with that and like realistic.
The games already exist.
Yeah,
they already exist.
Yeah, I just mean like when headsets are cheap.
Yeah, when it's more accessible, the specs to run VR, and they've got, because you can sync up. There's already sex toys that sync up to porn videos when they're syncing up to the actions in a VR game.
And what about when like within software you'll be able to like perfectly replicate like celebrities and, you know, stuff like this.
It's like that episode of Futurama.
Yeah. Mate, you bring up The Rock in VR or whatever, and you can just do anything with it. It's like
or you can do anything with you.
Black Adam.
But it's like this stuff is becoming more accessible through games, at least, because Steam is starting to add these porn games on. They're on the homepage of Steam.
It's a huge fucking market, man.
It is a huge market.
Mm-hmm.
Huge market. A lot of this technology is made feasible thanks to how much money people spend on like pornography type stuff.
Like OnlyFans is like a huge thing now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a difficult one, but it's not like I'm not trying to humiliate people and shame them for possibly watching and consuming porn. It's not that. It's just knowing that there's a point when you need to get away, because it will offset and affect other things in your life. And it's like, just don't. If I could go back now, I would never watch it, because I know what it leads to.
No, but this is what is so fucked about it, is that you don't have the intelligence or self-awareness or wherewithal when you're like 14 or 15 to deny something like that.
It's just like, no, it overloads your brain at 14.
You're already hormonal, you're stupid, you know nothing.
Yeah. And you want to jerk off.
The allure of being able to Google big boobies is too strong.
But I mean, even as like this is why I think trying to quit porn is even harder. I mean, not necessarily harder, but it's like a whole other beast. You naturally get horny.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's where the connection is. Because when you get horny, as a younger kid, you're like, I want to jerk off, so I will watch porn to help jerk off.
Yeah.
But when you're addicted to it, it's like when you get horny, when you're trying to break away from it, that horniness is pulling you directly back into porn. Yeah. Because they're connected in your head.
Yeah. Or the inverse, when you're going to porn to get horny.
Yeah, that's what it becomes. Where you don't
You're
even
not
have
even
when it's the routine thing.
Yeah, you don't have natural horniness anymore. Like, your horniness is only caused by the dopamine that's caused by porn, which is the complete, like, you're not going to be able to have sex with anyone because you don't get naturally horny anymore. The brain is not set up for intimacy.
Yeah, when you're so far down the hole that, like, the only thing that can tickle you at that point is, like...
That's where the deeper, the more extreme porn comes into it. And I luckily never managed to go that way, where it's like becomes fucking dark because your brain can't actually get any more dopamine out of the. And it's like someone made a post on the Jar Reddit, like, I saw this video and I was like, that's porn addiction, and they went to the comments and I literally said in the comments, like, that's porn addiction.
What do you remember what it was?
It was the GIF from Moon Knight where he's doing the sky, and then it's like a page 100 of Pornhub.
Oh yeah,
if you have to get to page 100 of Pornhub, you're extremely addictive. Because the dopamine of 100 pages does nothing.
It's gooning.
Yeah, that is literally what it is. You're wasting hours of your life to find the perfect porn video.
I think maybe a recommendation for wankers is to just get it done as quick as you can.
No, what, with porn or just?
Well, yeah, like if you are using porn.
No, but if you wanna jerk off for ages, don't look at porn. Like, use your imagination.
That's the thing. When trying to get away from it, you have to use your imagination. If you feel like you gotta jerk off, you have to use your imagination, because that means you're thinking and you're healing the brain paths in your mind to be natural.
You're trying to, like, disconnect that inherent association.
Association. You gotta do it. I have. But I think when you're trying to quit it, you kind of have to be like, no fap. You have to just be like, I got to go like a week and a half with no masturbation at all, because that will also help heal. But it is a long ass process, just like quitting smoking. And it's like, I know from in 2 years' time, I'm still not going to be able to look at porn. Because then it will start again.
Well, hopefully by then you won't have the same kind of desire
even now I don't have the same desire. Like, I've got...
What was the process then of the 4 weeks? Was it like particularly bad in week 3?
No, what I noticed was by the first Saturday after, so with 6 days in, I had no desire to do it at all. And it's like that week where your brain knows you're not actually trying to quit it, so it's not like throwing you because it knows it's going to happen at some point. But when you get to that, like, close to 2 weeks, that's when your brain starts, like, filling you with hormones, because it knows that you're going to watch porn when it's filled you with hormones. And that's when it's like, oh fuck, that's when it starts becoming difficult, because that's the time when you will relapse, because you're now fucking horny 24/7. And then after,
so surely that's when you want to release, but without using material. I didn't release. I just kind of held it out and was just like, because I had the routine, it was just like, if I went in bed early, it was like, I'll just do it then. But then I just was just like, phone down, sleep, and that helped. That got me through. But then it's like week 2.5 is when it's fucking, I'm gonna make you depressed. You're gonna fucking hate your life. That's what it did. It depressed the shit out of me, and my emotions were so bad because it's now affecting the emotions to get the release. But then week 3, it kind of turned around.
Yeah, week 3 at the moment, I've had no desires at all. It's not even on my mind. It's just I've like cleared it. But it is those first like 3 weeks is when you'll go through the ups and downs, and that's when you always fail. It's on those ups and downs. And I imagine smoking is the exact same.
Yeah, smoking is it's just a much more regular thing that you do.
The routine.
Yeah, and I was at the point where I was smoking near enough 20 a day, which is like a full pack of straights. And it's just you catch yourself in these moments that's like, you're not thinking about smoking, but your body's trying to get you to do something. And then, because I've reached the point where it's not in my routine anymore to regularly go outside and smoke, but my body wants me to do something, and then it gets like angry, and I get very easily agitated, and I sort of have to temper that and play Angry Birds for 5 minutes. I have to do something totally like engaging, like scrolling through Instagram, something that just like
an
closes
alternative
off.
dopamine release.
Yeah. But something that makes me not think about that. Otherwise I get arsey and antsy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the worst when you get frustrated because you want it, and like multiple days I forgot to put a patch on, which I think is somewhat a good sign. Because like I've woken up in the morning, I haven't thought about going for a fag, I haven't even thought that I need nicotine.
Mm-hmm.
But then a couple hours go by and it's like the chemical part is like everything's happening like too quickly. It just wants that one thing.
Yeah,
and my brain is like pissing me off, making me behave differently because it's craving this chemical. It's more frustrating than anything. And then you get frustrated that you're frustrated over pretty much nothing. So then it just escalates. And the fact that you know one cigarette, if I just smoke one cigarette right now, all of that goes away and I'll feel fine. And I'll feel better than fine.
It's the same with sexual frustration.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, straight up.
Shit. And it's like
post-nut clarity.
Yeah.
It's post-fag clarity. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah. But it's like, at least with cigarettes, it's like, it's a well-known thing that it's addictive and that people try to get away with it. But it's like meme culture now to be addicted to porn. It's like, it's a cool lad thing to be a fucking porn addict and have your hall pass fucking porn star. It's like, no.
It's pretty gross.
Extremely gross. But it's like, I see so much shit, but that's like, yeah, this is porn addiction. And it's just like so normalized.
We were saying when you were out of the room about how like, if you're using any social media, sex sells, you're going to be seeing sexual content, and that's like a challenge in and of itself. Do you have a similar thing if like you see someone going out to the smoking area and see them there, or like in a movie there's like a character who's chain smoking?
That is something that's always made me want to smoke, is seeing characters smoking in media. I don't mean before I smoked, but when I smoke, like particularly straight cigarettes, not roll-ups. When I see a character smoking,
because it's inherently associated with cool characters for some reason.
Yeah, but it's not to do with that. It just like, I know what it feels like to smoke and to have that nicotine hit.
The way you describe it almost makes it sound like a form of meditation. Like you're going out there.
Yeah, but that's something I've always liked about it, because like, whenever I feel or have felt anxious, it's like you kind of go over everything in your head, and while you're smoking, you're getting the nicotine, which is like calming everything down in your brain, makes you need to poop a little bit, but it's like slowing everything down. You're just doing this process for a second, thinking about whatever happened.
It's like taking time for yourself. You're physically removing yourself from a situation, going to somewhere calming the outside.
Yeah. And
with that, there is a reason why the catering industry and restaurants, they all smoke. And you started there, didn't you?
Yeah.
There's a reason why, because
stressful
the job
environments
is
that you need a
stressful
break
environment. Yeah. And that's where the dependency starts.
Yeah. But weirdly, seeing people smoke doesn't make me want to smoke. Like, not in a movie. Like, I don't know if it's a thing with, like, when you're watching a movie, it's like a character's story, and you sort of put yourself in their shoes, and they're having a cigarette. Whereas when you're, like, at work and some people go to the smoking area, I've had no issues with that. I have issues with the routine of, like, let's say my colleagues at this certain point in the day would normally go for a cigarette with a coffee.
Yeah.
That it'll be like a little nibble there, but I've been fine with that stuff. But it is the moments like after eating, before bed, because I got into a really bad routine where every night before I'd go to sleep, I'd chain smoke 2 or 3 cigarettes. Because that would get me lightheaded and it would make me sleep easier. Because I've like always struggled with sleeping,
which is like a common thing with all of us. Actually, is sleeping.
Yeah,
I never used to until kind of recently, but
start smoking. It will.
That's my one.
Start chain smoking before bed.
Like, yeah, that was my one thing. I'd always touch wood, be like, well, at least I can sleep. Because nothing fucks you up faster than sleep shit. Like yesterday, we were gonna record the cast, but I had an awful sleep because it was the hottest day of the year.
Yeah.
It got to like 9 o'clock here, and I knew it was going to be an awful cast if we record.
Especially if we're trying to talk about this subject, because I've wanted to talk about porn and addictions since last week, because it's like I'm getting to the stage where I know I'm safe almost. So I wanted to talk about it, and it would not have happened if we're just hanging on the ropes. Just exhaustion.
Yeah.
But I mainly wanted to talk about this because I feel like I'm now succeeding in getting away from it, because it's the longest time, and I feel like I can smash this out of the park.
Well, there's no doubt someone listening who's like
I've had messages saying that people have recognised their own problems of it, because I've talked about it before. But it's like now it's like I'm getting away. I'm seeing the light, and it can happen. And it's if I can do it, everyone can.
But this was like a whole talked about cult for a while. I mean, I use cult in like an exaggeratory way, but what was it? NoFap?
Yeah, there's like a community online.
But these people that have gone to NoFap like swear by it. Like it. Basically, the improvements are like you can't count them.
No, I'd agree.
Incredible.
Just from like since I quit porn, I'm not masturbating nearly as much, and it is just better. I feel so good, so much. It's the way forward.
Yeah.
And no, it's the same with not smoking.
Yeah.
It only benefits everyone.
Well, I mean, the thing with smoking, I'm pretty much purely doing it for monetary and health benefits.
Yeah. And so am I.
Because the frustrating thing is that it is like an enjoyment. It's like a vice, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So but at the same time, there are the moments where it's like I have a chesty cough like I do at the minute. It's a rainy day. I'm wearing my pajamas and I'm going outside and smoking a cigarette and coughing my guts out. Like what? At that point, it's like that little bit of enjoyment.
So
is it worth
outweighed,
it?
But yeah.
Is it really worth it?
Yeah,
And then to think like, worst case scenario, I end up with like emphysema doing the same shit, but just for the rest of my life, like smoking and coughing my guts out. It's like, it's not worth that little bit of enjoyment for like a normal healthy life, you know.
And a lot of these concepts do apply to all sorts of other addictive tendencies, because it is that addictive cycle.
Yeah, because it like the shit I'm saying as well sounds almost exaggeratory, like getting off of heroin.
Well, alcohol.
It's like that. It's the same process. It's just like extremes, you know.
And every one of these different addictions has a different kind of grip over you.
Yeah.
Different kind of vice to it.
Yeah, and a different catch.
Yeah. Like if you're like horrendously addicted to alcohol, you like can't cold turkey like you can with porn. There's not going to be like a physical threat in the same way when it is like a chemical substance like alcohol.
Yeah, I just want to say, because with porn, obviously, it's going to become more of a main issue, but it's like now's the time to acknowledge that it is going to become an issue, because it's not respected the same way every other addiction is.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone can look at cigarettes and say that's it's addictive, but people refuse to acknowledge porn the same way, and that's the danger, is that they don't see it as an addiction. And it is, from me, an ex-addict. Be safe, homies.
That's one thing though, like once you're an addict, you're never not an addict.
Yeah. And depending on like your genetics, your brain chemistry and whatnot, some people are more vulnerable to it than others.
Because if you think you're not addicted as well, like, well, I've broken the addiction, and then you're out having a drink, and you're like, oh, you know what, I'll buy a pack of fags. It's like, you're the thing I get into is like the sunken cost fallacy. You've paid 10 quid for a pack of fags, you smoke 5 of them. Well, I don't want to throw away 15. I spent 13 quid on this. So I want to get my money's worth, then I'll quit, and then the next day, you've sobered up, you smoke more, you finish them off the next day, and you're like, oh, that's leaving me with a craving for more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'll just buy one more. And that's how it starts up again. So, like,
it's like cookies. Buying cookies is the same
it's
shit.
Exactly
like,
the same as every time I try to quit sugar. It's like,
that's a crazy addiction to break.
Yeah,
and
we're all suffering that, and we're not even trying to get away.
Yeah, that's what. This is the thing. Like, I'm okay having a couple poisons, right? I can't break sugar, man. I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't
No, but the thing
do
is,
it, man.
It's like sugar's not making my cock not work. Is the thing. That's where it's like I can acknowledge the problem.
It's just like one thing at a time, you know. Like, fuck, I need some joy.
Yeah. But it's just frustrating. Like, I tried to get back into working out this week. What happens? I get ill the next day after working out. It's like,
and then we just eat loads of garbage the last 2 days.
Yeah. Well, that's what it turns into. It's like, well, exercise is like the inverse of addiction to me.
No, because exercise is addicting.
It is until something like this happens.
Yeah, and then it's like,
and then
fuck
this is like the quitting the addiction. But I have to do the inverse of quitting an addiction, where I'm starting this thing that I actually really enjoy when I'm doing it. Is good for me. So why am I not doing it? It becomes that, I'll start next week.
Yeah.
I'll diet and eat properly next week. But today I just need this. It's the same thing. And it comes down to diet, a lot of it for me. Because I don't want to bother, like, working out really hard.
I don't go to KFC.
Yeah.
Which we do.
Partly, yeah. But, like, I like building muscle. But you can't build muscle when you're just eating cake.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's why I need mass gainer.
Yeah, that's why you need creatine. That's the problem with it.
Honestly, if we're going in and working out again, it's pre-workout, it's creatine, it's mass gainer. I'm going in all in.
And it's watching toxic Instagram
body
videos.
dysmorphia inducing TikToks. Fuck it, let's get addicted to creatine.
Yeah.
I think that's it, boys. It's kind of a long one. We didn't really do a question segment like normal, so next episode we'll do a double question segment extravaganza.
Epic.
Let us know your thoughts on this stuff in the comments. It's always good to hear other takes from all around the world.
Yeah, tell us why we're wrong about everything we say ever.
Yeah, just tell me that porn addiction isn't real and that I should just grow up. Yeah, man up.
Man up and go to the gym.
Yeah.
And drink creatine.
Can we go get some, like, cookies?